Chapter 7 of The Practice of the Love of Jesus Christ by St. Alphonsus Ligouri. Love is not jealous. The soul that loves Jesus Christ does not envy the great ones of this world, but only those who are greater lovers of Jesus Christ. St. Gregory explains this next distinguishing mark of love when he says that love is not jealous, because it cannot find a reason to envy worldly people those kinds of earthly greatness that it despises rather than desires. Hence we must distinguish between two kinds of emulation, one wicked and the other holy. The wicked kind envies and is saddened by the worldly goods that others possess on this earth. By contrast, holy emulation does not envy, but rather pities the great ones of this world, who live amid honors and earthly pleasures. It seeks and desires nothing but God. And in this life it aims only to love him as much as possible, and therefore it has a holy envy of those who love him more than it does, for it would wish to surpass even the seraphim in loving him. This is the only goal of the saints on earth, a goal that so enamors and wounds the heart of God with love that it makes him say, "You have ravished my heart, my sister, my bride. You have ravished my heart with one glance of your eyes." By one glance is meant the one purpose that souls wedded to the Lord have in all their exertions and thoughts, to please God. Worldly people in their actions look on things with many glances, that is, they have several disordered ends, such as to please others, to gain honor or riches, and if nothing else, to satisfy themselves. But the saints have a single glance, with which they look only to God's pleasure in all that they do. Along with David, they say, "Whom have I in heaven but you? And there is nothing upon earth that I desire other than you. God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. What else do I want, O my God, in this world or the next, save you alone? You alone are my riches. You are the only Lord of my heart. Let the rich, says St. Paulinus, enjoy their earthly treasures. Let the kings enjoy their kingdoms. You, O Christ, are my treasure and my kingdom." Hence we see that it is not enough to do good works, but we must do them well. For our works to be good and perfect, they must be done with the sole purpose of pleasing God. This was the worthy praise given to Jesus Christ. He has done everything well. Many actions would in themselves be praiseworthy, but because they are done with some other end in view than the glory of God, they are worth little or nothing to God. St. Mary Magdalene de Pazzi said, "God rewards our actions according to the weight of their purity." She meant that the Lord accepts and rewards our actions depending on how pure the intention is. But, dearest God, how hard it is to find an action done only for you. I remember a holy old religious who had greatly toiled for God and died with the reputation of a saint. One day, glancing back over his life, he was shaken by sadness and fear and said, "Oh dear me, when I look at all the actions of my life, I cannot find one done entirely for God." How accursed is self-love, which costs all or the greater part of the fruit of our good actions. How many people, even in the most sacred occupations, preachers, confessors, missionaries, labor and struggle but gain little or nothing because they are not focused on God alone, but on worldly glory or their own interest or on the vanity of standing in the limelight or simply on their own inclination. The Lord said, "Beware of practicing your piety before others in order to be seen by them, for then you have no reward from your Father in heaven. And whenever you pray, do not be like the hypocrites. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But this reward comes down to a puff of smoke or a fleeting satisfaction that soon vanishes, leaving the soul empty-handed." The prophet Haggai says that whoever labors for any other reason except to please God is putting his reward in a bag full of holes, which, when he comes to open it, will find it empty. You earn wages to put them in a bag with holes. You that earn wages to put them in a bag with holes. That is why such people, if they fail to achieve their goal of their labors, are greatly disturbed. This is a sign that the glory of God has not been their sole object. Those who do something simply for the glory of God are not troubled at all by failure, because they have already achieved their purpose of pleasing God by acting with a pure intention. Here are the signs that a person engaged in spiritual matters is working only for God. If we are not bothered by the failure to reach our goals, because seeing that God does not wish it, neither do we. If we rejoice at the good done by others, as if we ourselves had done it. If we do not desire one assignment more than another, but gladly accept whatever obedience to superiors entails. If after our actions we seek neither thanks nor approval from others, and so if others ever complain or disapprove, we will not be upset, but satisfied simply because we have pleased God. And if we should get some applause from the world, we do not get conceited, but meet the temptation to vanity, as the Venerable John of Avila did. Go away, you have come too late. The work I did has already been given completely to God. This is what is meant by an entering into the joy of the Lord, that is, to enjoy God's own joy, as promised to his faithful servants. Well done, good and trustworthy slave. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. If we have the good fortune to do something that pleases God, what more, says St. John Chrysostom, are we looking for? If you are found worthy to perform something that pleases God, what other compensation do you seek but this? This is the greatest reward, the best piece of fortune that a creature can have, to give pleasure to its Creator. And that is what Jesus Christ expects from those that love him. Set me, he says, as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm. He wants them to place him as a seal on their hearts and on their arms, on the heart so that whatever they plan on doing they may intend solely for the love of God, on the arm so that they may do whatever they do to please God, and that God may always be the only aim of all their thoughts and actions. St. Teresa said that whoever wants to become a saint must live with no other desire than that of pleasing God. And her eldest daughter, the Venerable Beatrice of the Incarnation, used to say, "There is no price high enough to pay for the slightest thing done for God." And she was right, because all things done to please God are acts of love that unite us to God and win us eternal rewards. Purity of intention is known as the heavenly alchemy by which iron is turned into gold. That is, the most trivial actions such as working, eating meals, recreating, or resting, when done for God's sake, become the gold of holy love. That is why St. Mary Magdalene de Pazzi took it for a certainty that those who do everything with a pure intention go straight to paradise without passing through purgatory. The spiritual treasury tells of a holy hermit who, before undertaking any action, used to pause for a moment and lift up his eyes to heaven. On being asked why he did so, he replied, "I am trying to make sure I hit the target." He meant that just as an archer before shooting an arrow takes aim at the target, so before doing anything he made God his aim, to be sure of pleasing him. We must do the same, and as we continue to carry out the work once begun, it is well for us from time to time to renew our intention of pleasing God. Those who have no other aim in their affairs but God's will enjoy the holy freedom of spirit proper to the children of God, and this lets them embrace everything that pleases Jesus Christ, however it may go against the grain of self-love or human respect. Love for Jesus Christ makes his lovers totally indifferent to what is sweet or bitter. They want nothing for their own pleasure, but everything for the pleasure of God. They have the same peace of mind whether they are busied with great things or little things, with things pleasant or unpleasant. It is enough for them to please God. On the other hand, many people are willing to serve God, but it has to be in this or that assignment, in such and such a place, with certain companions and under certain circumstances, or else they will either quit the task or do it begrudgingly. Such persons have no freedom of spirit. They are slaves of self-love, and on that account profit little by what they do. They lead a restless life because the yoke of Jesus Christ weighs heavily on them. The true lovers of Jesus Christ love to do with pure love only what pleases him, and because it pleases him, when Jesus wills, where he wills, and as he wills, and whether he wishes them to occupy themselves in a life of worldly honor or in one of obscurity and neglect. What is important is loving him with a pure heart. This is the effort in which we must strive and toil, battling the appetites of self-love, which would like to see us busy in important posts that bring us honor and match our inclinations. We must also keep our distance from all activities, even spiritual ones, when the Lord wants us to in other tasks more to his liking. One day, Father Alvarez, finding himself greatly overworked, wanted to hurry up and finish so that he could go to pray, because he felt that during this time he wasn't with God. But then the Lord said to him, "Though I may not have you with me, I am making use of you. That should be enough." This is a worthwhile lesson for persons who are sometimes upset when they are obliged, by obedience or the demands of charity, to leave their accustomed devotions. They should know that this sort of worry comes not from God, but either from the devil or from self-love. Please God and then go ahead and die. That is the first maxim of the saints. Prayers of love and affection. My eternal God, I offer you all my heart, but what sort of heart, O God, is it that I offer you? Though created to love you, it has many times rebelled against you. But look, my Jesus, if for a time my heart was rebellious, now it is deeply grieved and repentant for the displeasure it has given you. Yes, my dear Redeemer, I regret having valued you so little, and I am resolved to obey you and to love you at all costs. I ask you to draw me wholly to your love, for the sake of the love that led you to die for me on the cross. I love you, my Jesus. I love you with all my soul. I love you more than my life, more than my very life. My only soulmate, none but you, has sacrificed his life for love of me. It makes me weep to think how ungrateful I have been to you. Pity me, I was already lost. But I hope that that with your grace you have restored my life, and this shall be my life, to love you always, my sovereign good. Make me love you, O source of infinite love. I ask nothing more of you. O Mary, my mother, accept me as your servant, and win acceptance for me from Jesus, your Son.